everyone, my name is Kayla.
And my name's Kiera.
And you're tuning in to Catching Up
with Kay and Key.
We're so excited to have you back for another episode. As you see, we're both in the same city again.
We are. When you have a long distance best friend, you gotta do what you gotta do just to be able to see her. So yes, we are at the 10th annual leadership summit, and we just make it do what we do to keep this friendship going for real.
I know, because 1,300 miles apart from each other is actually insane. Every time I look at your location, I'm like, there's no way that I got myself in the friendship with somebody that I can't even see.
No, seriously.
It's actually insane. But don't worry, because she still stalks me from 1,300 miles away.
I do.
She still stalks me. So like,
and vice versa.
Yeah,
we both be checking that location.
I'd be like, why are you in Dallas? What you doing?
Bitch, because she knows.
Are you in the hospital? I was saying, if she's in Dallas, I'm automatically going to assume she's in the hospital.
Right. Literally just the other day, she was somewhere else from the location that I was familiar with. And I said, yeah, what you doing? Because I don't know that place. So get your best friend to check your location. I was seeing that man. Not seeing that man. Let's get to it.
Stop. Let me stop.
Y'all don't get that inside. Let
me stop. That. This is not what this podcast is about. This podcast is not about that.
No.
This episode is about our journeys with sickle cell and how we got to where we are right now. So yeah, y'all stay out of me and my man's life.
Okay, you can't get an internet everything. Okay,
No.
y'all gotta come back to get the goods. Okay, some stuff what happens in this friendship
stays.
Period.
Okay, this is so off topic. This is not what we planned on talking about.
But y'all gotta get to
how did we get in my life? How did we get into my life?
Y'all gotta see our personality a little bit. This is the second episode, y'all. So y'all are finally set. Sorry it took us a little bit, but life be life.
Look, she's a mom.
Come on.
We both have sickle cell.
Yep.
I'm a full-time aunt.
Yep.
If you didn't know.
Full-time aunt.
I got a job.
Thank
she
y'all.
got a job. It's a lot going on.
We are working women. We content creators. We have little ones around us, y'all. You know, if you know, you know. This life with sickle cell isn't easy. And speaking of this life with sickle cell, we both, of course, have sickle cell anemia. Kayla, what type of sickle cell do you have?
I have SC.
And I have sickle beta 0 thalassemia. When did you get diagnosed? Let's start talking about that.
I was diagnosed at birth, but crazy thing is I actually just the other day found the card that they sent my parents in the mail saying like I have sickle cell, the type that I have. It has my name, date of birth, like all that.
Wow.
Yeah, she said she got it in the mail like a week after we got home, and I just found it the other day.
Oh, y'all gotta keep that forever.
I know. When I saw it, I was like, it's kind of like beat up. I'm gonna go like get it re-laminated because like I want to keep it in my wallet because it's like I don't know. I feel like most people don't even have that.
No.
Like I didn't even know that was a thing really, where they give you a card, but she has a little card. She has a little card just like an insurance card. So
yeah.
But
wow.
Yes. When were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed at birth as well. My mom actually found out through the PKU testing, and the doctor called her within just a few weeks. I want to say 2-3 weeks of me being born to call and inform her that she had a child living with sickle cell. And it honestly baffled my mom because she did. My grandmother took them to get tested, and they actually got tested by the Black Panther Party. My mom was born in 67. Sorry, mom, if you didn't want me to put that out there, but you're still fine, girl. Don't worry about it. But no, they got tested, and they told my grandmother that they didn't have sickle cell trait or sickle cell disease. But the thing is, they didn't test for that thalassemia trait. So my father had sickle cell anemia, and my mother had thalassemia, which equals sickle beta 0 thalassemia.
Fun fact, so everyone knows my niece Nova. Obviously my sister got pregnant. My sister doesn't have the trait, but obviously when she got pregnant, told her OB I had sickle cell, like they wanted to check into all of that. Nova doesn't have the sickle cell trait, that's what they tested her for, but Nova actually has thalassemia trait.
She does. Well, that's so funny because Joanna also has the thalassemia trait.
Yes, Nova has thalassemia trait, which we never, like that just was so random, but you know, like they're just so always worried about sickle cell, but I think people forget about sickle cell beta thal.
They do.
And that really is a thing, and people are struggling from it. I hear.
Exactly.
But so what was your childhood like with sickle cell?
Well, thank you for asking, because I'm gonna keep it real. Now, I'm just gonna be honest. I went through so much in my journey with sickle cell at an early age. Let me slow it down a little bit. Well, I can think back to first and second grade, and I was just in and out the hospital. I would always miss Valentine's Day. As a kid, I kind of made that mental note that I never got to enjoy the Valentine's Day party.
The party with the Valentines and swapping and getting the candy.
That's the favorite time at school. Like, being able to be around holidays. You have a holiday party. You get to eat what you don't usually eat in school. And somehow, some way, I was always admitted in the hospital.
Oh my goodness.
And so I can remember one Valentine's Day, I just was not in the hospital. And my mom made that the biggest deal.
Aww.
I mean, she kept dropping off gifts all day to me and my teachers. And she just really made it special. Because I also have had 4 bouts of osteomyelitis, which is bone infections, all before the age of 8 or 9. So I had 2 in my legs, in my left leg, 1 in my right, and 1 in my right arm. I also had my spleen and gallbladder removed at an early age. And the reason I just remember that this all happened so young was because we moved to Dallas, Texas when I was 12. And the reason was, a majority of the reason was because my mama and my dad wanted to search for better health care for me in sickle cell. So my doctors, I'm from Amarillo, Texas originally, and my doctors would always consult with the doctors from Dallas. And so my family just was like, you know what, let's just move to Dallas, let's pack up. And also they just wanted a better life for me and my siblings. I do have 2 older brothers. One does have sickle cell trait, the other does not. So I'm the only one in my family that I know that has the full-blown disease, but it definitely it was a gruesome childhood at one point for me. What about you?
So Kiara moved to Dallas when she was 12 to find better care. And I didn't have my first crisis until I was 12.
It's funny that happened.
So before the 12, I mean, I knew I had sickle cell, but life was pretty normal. I went to the hematologist every 6 months. I mean, I hated going because I had to get my blood drawn, but other than that, there was no pain, there was no hospitalizations. I think I have one photo of me being hospitalized when I was 5, and it was because I had pneumonia, and I honestly really wasn't that sick. But I live in a very small town, and the hospital wanted to hospitalize me just because of the sickle cell pneumonia, but it wasn't that serious. But yeah, I never had a crisis. I remember I would get so annoyed and upset with my mom because she would be like, okay, you can't go outside because you're gonna get sick. And I'm like, you're telling me that I'm gonna get sick and I've never been sick in my life. She's like, oh, you can't go in the snow because you're gonna get sick. Oh, you can't be in the pool too long, you're gonna get sick. And I'm like, I've never been sick. What are you talking about? And my mom, she's actually a nurse. She's been a nurse for almost 20 years now. Kira's mom's a nurse too. But when she was in nursing school, because she graduated nursing school, I think when I was in the 2nd grade. But when she was in nursing school, they learned about sickle cell. And she actually took me back to the doctor because she was like, this sounds horrible. My kid doesn't have this. You need to retest her because she's fine. And y'all are saying she has this. And they're like, no, she has it. And she's like, I need you to take the test again. So of course they retested me. They're like, she has it. And she's just like, why isn't she sick? And they're like, some people are fine for bouts in their life. And some people are okay for a while. It came. And when it came, it hit me as soon as I hit puberty, the crisis came. So literally as soon as I started menstruating, I was in the hospital every single month like clockwork when I got my menstrual cycle. And that went on for quite a while until I know that this is a controversial topic, but I started birth control and everything went away, and then I was okay.
Which they suggest a lot.
Yeah, so I've been on birth control since I was 14 years old, and it's quite literally saved my life in a sense, because before it, I was in the hospital every single month. Since then, I've been able to get my hospitalizations down. Obviously, I go back and forth. So the crisis started at 12. We were in and out of the hospital. Then I went through a bout in high school where I was hospitalized once or twice a year. And the crazy thing is, I think now I've gotten much sicker as I've gotten older, and there have been periods where I've been in the hospital every single month. When I was in high school and I was hospitalized twice a year, I thought I was the sickest person in the world.
Yeah.
I was oh my goodness. I was my life sucks. I can't believe this is happening to me. I just missed a week of school. Mind you, missed a week of school only twice within the entire 9-month school period. High school me would be just dying at 27-year-old me. Like 27-year-old me is praying to get back to high school me, like just those 2 crises a year. But no, I was okay for a little while, just once or twice, and then I got to college and everything just went downhill.
It's funny how that can happen. It's so many similarities in our stories, yet it's so many differences, and that's what I love about the sickle cell community. It's like you can relate to each other, but at the same time we both have our own experience. I was going through a lot at 12, and she's just now finding out at 12 that she has this, you know, chronic disease. And like she said, my mom's a nurse, and so it comes with a lot living this life with sickle cell. I can remember once I did move to Dallas, Texas, I remember there was a point where my health got better, but like you said, we started our menstrual cycle, and menstrual cycles trigger crisis every month, like clockwork. Yes.
And I've been on birth control since I was 14. I'm 27 now, and luckily for me, it completely stopped menstruation. But if there's ever been a time where like I've missed my shot or whatever it may be, immediate crisis, like immediate. So of course I like do my best not to miss my shot at all, because like I don't want to be in that predicament. But back to what Kira just said about how, you know, every sickle cell patient is different. Earlier today I was in a session with Dominique Goodson. She was teaching it, and one thing she said that stuck with me is she said sickle cell patients are like snowflakes. No two stories are alike. Everyone, we can relate to each other, but everyone's situation is different. Everyone's pain is different, their tolerance level, what meds they need, like everyone deals with it differently, even though we're all going through the same thing with the same disease.
No, yeah, right. That snowflake analogy is like the perfect analogy, because one thing I hate about healthcare is that they put us in the box, and our disease and the treatment for our disease is not one size fits all.
Absolutely not.
And so, you know, when it comes to our treatment plans in the hospital and what we receive for pain when we get to the point where we're presenting in the emergency room, we've exhausted all possible options when it comes to oral medications at home. And a lot of times it's a slap in the face to be able to go to the emergency room, tell them everything you're experiencing and currently experiencing, just for them to throw another over-the-counter opioid or a pill form opioid to you. Like Tylenol. We know Tylenol, yes, it helps in conjunction with something, but if you're expecting me to go from 10,000 to a 2 from just Tylenol alone.
But first of all, why would I come to the ER for Tylenol?
Thank you. And there's so many warriors that have experienced that very
thing. If I'm at the ER, that means that I have tried everything. I have tried the highest opioid that I could possibly take at home. Like the max of what my doctor tells me I can take, I have tried it.
Right.
If we're at the step of the ER. So why would Tylenol magically work for me in the ER if it wasn't working at my house?
Right. Man,
make it make sense.
Make it make sense. And this is exactly what we're tackling in healthcare, even as we discuss conversations here at the 10th Annual Leadership Summit. This is why you need to be involved in the community when it comes to advocacy, because these are the very conversations that sickle cell warriors, patients, and caregivers and healthcare providers are having at this conference, and then coming up with solutions.
Absolutely.
Taking our health into our own hands and being able to articulate in an appropriate way to the doctor that I am in so much significant pain, it is not allowing me to live and do the normal day-to-day things that I usually do while I'm at home. It is causing me to be debilitated. I can't take care of my daughter the same. I can't go to work. So the reason I am presenting to you today is because I need help, and all that I have tried, the exhaustions have weighed themselves. Like, it has exhausted all options before coming to the emergency room.
And obviously, as someone living with a chronic illness and chronic pain, we understand that under no circumstances are you going to get us to a 0.
Right.
Oh, I don't even know what a 0 is.
Come on.
At this point in my life, I haven't seen a 0. Have you seen one?
Oh,
because I was going to say, I can't tell you the last time I've seen a 0.
I can't tell you either.
I don't know if I've ever seen it. I mean, before the crisis started.
Come on.
That's when I saw a 0. But like in the past 10 years of my life, don't know what a 0 is. So I'm not expecting for you to get me there, but I am expecting some level of relief. And that is why we come up with these pain plans with our hematologist. So hopefully once we make it to the ER will honor that pain plan, because your hematologist knows you best. I personally feel that if a reputable hematologist has put in this pain plan for you, saying this is what works for my patient, I know that my patient can handle this level of medication, this is what will get her home.
Yes.
Because the end goal is getting home to your family. I don't want to sit in this ER with you. I don't want to be admitted to this hospital. If you can get me to this level of pain, I can get home, I'll be happy, you'll be happy, you can go on about your day.
Come on.
The unfortunate reality is that a lot of times in the ER, they do not honor that pain plan. And that's just really unfortunate. It truly is unfortunate, because why wouldn't you want to help your patient achieve a reasonable pain level, or achieve just peace, if we're being honest, peace. But that doesn't always happen.
Right. And like you just said, I want to kind of go back to what you said. We understand, doctors, I'm looking exactly at you when I say this. Us as warriors, not only as warriors, but sickle cell advocates, know the difference between our acute pain and our chronic pain.
Absolutely.
We are not expecting you to deal with our chronic pain for months on end with IV opioids. We know that is not the treatment for that.
Exactly.
So when we come to the hospital, when we present to the emergency room, we are having an acute sickle cell crisis that we were not able to manage at home with the treatment regimen that we receive either from our hematologist or pain management doctor. We exhaust all options we have. I have a pain management doctor. I also have a hematologist. I see my primary doctor, and I also see other specialties that are recommended to me, such as a pulmonologist. We really are up to date when it comes to our health. So we are not drug seekers.
Exactly.
We're not. And so I love to say this, we're not drug seekers, we are doctors, we are lawyers, we are nurses, we are content creators. Like, we run our own podcast. Kayla graduated with her degree not too long ago. And like we said, we don't want to be sitting up in the hospital looking at you. I want to get back to my family and my normal life. We travel, we get to go all around the world being able to advocate for sickle cell warriors and caregivers, no matter where you are in the world. So we are not drug seekers, y'all.
I feel like the thing that gets me the most is them trying to gaslight me into believing that this is chronic pain. And I'm like, no, I know what the pain that I deal with every day is. Because obviously, when you have sickle cell or any type of chronic illness like this, you have adapted to some level of pain on a daily basis. You have some level of pain has become your normal. Whether it be a 4, a 5, a 6, you have, something has become normal. But the gaslighting into being like, oh, this is just chronic pain. No, it's not. Because you're not going to tell me if I normally live at a 6 and right now I'm telling you I'm at like a 12. That's not my normal chronic pain. Something has changed. Something has changed over the course of getting from this 5 to this 10 out of 10. Something. So
this is what we be trying to stress to y'all.
But sickle cell patients are so much more than their pain. They're so much more than this debilitating illness. Like Kira was saying, there's so many people that are so successful. Even just, I already know that, but even just being here right now, the type of people that we meet, the type of people that we have the pleasure of knowing and being friends with, just being in this community. That's why, like, you all should just, you don't even have to be an advocate, honestly. Obviously, the Leadership Summit is for people that are active advocates, but something like WarriorCon or the convention, I highly urge you to come out just to make those friends and make those connections. You don't have to work in this field, but it is always good when you have something like sickle cell to have someone that can relate to you.
Exactly. You need to find your tribe. It's what we call it.
Absolutely. And
the thing about sickle cell is, just like we said, we are like snowflakes. We all are not the same. That comes to do with personalities as well. So I'm like, hey, you might find somebody in the sickle cell phase that gets you. I found Kayla. She gets me.
I think it's we can cut this out if you want. This is controversial, but I'd love to tap into this. I think that on social media, we both work in social media field. On social media, there's a lot of negative, especially right now. And I often see people saying, oh, this is why I don't deal with people with sickle cell, because it's all messy. I want you to know that none of that is real life.
No, it's not.
We've both worked in this industry for 10 plus years. And a lot of the things that you guys are describing, I've never seen. I've never seen it in real life. Maybe it happens on social media, but I'm telling you, when you come to these events, it's nothing but good vibes. There's just good people that you can relate to. You're building friendships. You're building, like, it's almost like a family. And outside of like these events, we then go out into the world, and like me and Kara met each other, and then 2 months later I was flying to her 1,300 miles away, spending the night at her house with her family, and then she flew to DC. Like, it is, you build relationships and family. And even the first conference that I came to for the consortium, that same week we met each other, and then 2 days later a group of us went out to hang out outside of the convention. Like, I just want you to know that that's not the norm, what you're seeing on social media. There's so many good and just wholesome people in this community. And at this point, I probably have more friends with sickle cell than I do without, if we're being so honest. Now, most of those friendships, unfortunately, are long distance.
Right.
But I just really want you to know, because we send each other videos back and forth, just seeing the negativity on social media. And it's actually kind of hard sometimes, as people that do work in content creation for sickle cell, to see just such a negative light shined on it, because a lot of times it seems that the negativity is what blows up instead of the positive, and you know, the light videos, and you know, the educational videos. But instead the algorithm will push that negativity, and that's all that people will see.
Yes. And I think we have to be more intentional with our digital footprint.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you just don't know because you've never seen it before, or you know, you haven't met that individual or that organization that is doing active things within the sickle cell community. And someone that I really enjoyed at this year's conference, his name is Jason Moore. I follow him on TikTok, and I saw the goals and the aspirations that he desired for the community when it comes to documenting our health and being able to be in control of not only the stigma but the treatment and the data that is shared within our lives living with sickle cell, such as keeping track with how many hospitalizations we have, how many crises we've had in X amount of time. All that data was collected from a group of people all over the world, both in the States and not. And he was able to find the Sickle Cell Consortium as a nonprofit organization and come and present his project here at the Leadership Summit. And so I like that, because he didn't just rest on his laurels and just complain and be like, oh, this is not being done. No, he found a solution for it. And we're solution oriented in this organization and community.
His presentation was absolutely amazing. Honestly, out of all the ones that we saw today, I actually loved his the most, just because it just was so raw and real, and you could see how much he cares and how much work he put in, how bad he wants it, just the data that he collected. I can't wait for it to be out for others to see. Like, I can't wait for the general public and other warriors to see. But the one thing that I will say is that I always say, this is going back to the social media. You know, we can all complain about everything that's going wrong, but my motto has always been, how can I expect anyone to fight for me as a sickle cell warrior if I am not fighting for myself?
Right.
And that is a big part of why I became an advocate, because I can say that I am putting in the groundwork, and I am. And fighting for yourself does not mean, oh, you have to go speak at the White House, or oh, you have to do it on this national platform or this huge level. It could be something as small as just advocating for yourself in the hospital, or speaking with the social workers within your own community. It doesn't have to be something so big. You don't have to set up your computer and like film this whole YouTube video, TikTok situation, because I know that everyone's not comfortable with that.
Right. And no, that was really, really good. And just being on social media, period, I didn't even start the way people probably think that I started. Honestly, I remember being in my bedroom and wanting to create TikTok videos about what I experienced in the hospital, because I think nurses think that we are just so groggy on medication that we don't see the mistreatment and the things that they do to us in the hospital. And so I turned it into humor content, is what we like to call it, and just sharing my actual real life, real experiences. And sometimes you gotta laugh to keep from crying. Dr. Bailey always says this community has a dark sense of humor, a funny way of turning their negative into light some type of way. But just doing that and storytelling in the way that I did that's how the community was able to find me. That's how the Sickle Cell Consortium was able to find me. Sickle Cell Medical Advocacy, SCA 365. Those are all organizations that I currently work for as their social media manager. And it all started with me just making content in my bedroom about my lived experience with sickle cell.
Right. And I feel like we both got started and got recognized on social media around the same time, per se. I think my start was a little bit different. I was doing a lot of like advocacy on Capitol Hill.
Right.
That was kind of around the time where I went to the White House and I started like going to Senate and things like that. But for me, I was always like, oh, I don't need to post on social media. Like, that's so dumb. Like, I'm doing this in real life. Like, it doesn't matter. And I was just like, no, because I think I always looked at it as there's the influencers and the advocates, and like they're holding that down. I'll just advocate. Like, I'll do this. But one day, I don't know, I just started posting of me advocating in real time, in real life. And it kind of took off. So I was just like, okay, I can do both. And I remember the first time I came to the convention, they hired me as an influencer. And I remember I was like telling my therapist, I was like, I have imposter syndrome because I don't consider myself an influencer. I consider myself an advocate. Like, I don't feel like an influencer. And by the end of the week, I won Creator of the Year. And I was just like, I'm not a creator. I was like, I'm not an influencer. I'm not. But I think by the end of the week, I realized that you can do both. You can be an advocate and you can be a content creator. You can do both, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, as much as I love, boots on the ground, like going into Capitol Hill, sitting in these meetings with these senators and da-da-da-da, I also love being able to create a TikTok and then talk about my experience in the hospital, or talk about my experience in whatever meeting and whoever else I was with, or doing behind the scenes of me doing an event. I love both of them, and I think it's very possible. And even now, Kiera does a lot of in-person stuff too now, like as far as like advocacy. So I think that like I would consider us both now.
Yes.
Yeah, I would consider us both.
And I think society needs to change its views on who can be deemed an influencer or who can be deemed a content creator, because I think they think that if you don't have that K in the back of your following account, if you don't have those millions, that you aren't able to call yourself a content creator or an influencer. But we are literally influencing and showcasing the sickle cell community like a whole different light. And so you can be considered a content creator. Absolutely. Or you can be considered a creator. And I just remember, you do have to take that leap of faith to just go to an event. It doesn't have to be in another state. It could be in your hometown, but you have to have your ear to the streets and just kind of watching and looking out on social media, saving the dates from the different graphics and flyers, because the community definitely uses a lot of them, and do it that way. I can remember being 16 years old, and that is when I met Demetrius and No Pain in the Playroom with Omika and Diamond Ray, God rest Diamond Soul. And I was invited to the Warriors Convention just fresh out of high school. I graduated high school. I was about 17, 18 years old, and that was the first time I experienced the Warriors Convention. And so just doing that alone and them inviting me to do poetry, I was like, okay, I'm never wanting to leave this space. I finally found my group of people that aren't ashamed to talk about sickle cell, because I was that little girl that would wear the long sleeve shirts, would wear the jackets to cover the scars, and not want everybody to know that I had sickle cell, because I wanted to be treated normal, and I didn't want people to think that I was less than or that I wasn't capable. Of course, growing up now, your mindset kind of changes, just being older and I'm a mother now. But yeah, you do got to take that leap of faith, because there's people out here to support you in the community.
Right. And going back to showing up to events, I always tell people, because people are like, oh, well, that's easy for you to say because you're speaking at the White House and you're getting invited to sit on panels. I will say, and I think Kiera will back me up on this as an advocate, you're going to see more change from the little events. From your little town hall that you may think is so small in your community hospital, you'll see more change there than you will from going and speaking at the White House.
Right.
Because I'm gonna be so real here, the White House was publicity. It flat out was. It was great to go there, and that was a once in a life opportunity. But I see the most change when I go to like a board meeting at my hospital. When I go to like a 5K walk, or things like that. So those little things that may seem like so minuscule and small and unimportant to you, they really are, because that's where you're going to see the most change that will directly affect you. Because if it's in your community, like if you go to a meeting at your hospital and you're talking about wait times, the wait times are going to help you personally, whereas it could be something on a big stage where yes, it will help the community as a whole, but it's not going to help you in your everyday life.
Right. Know that explains like how we even got here, what we're doing in the community. Don't just think we just got here overnight.
No, it took lots of time, lots of work, lots of hard times, tears for me for sure, still to this day.
Yeah. It's humbling work. It really is humbling work, but I think I wouldn't have it any other way.
Absolutely
Even
not.
this life with sickle cell, I always say, if God gave me a chance to pick and say, hey, I can give you a life with sickle cell, I can give you a life without sickle cell. Crazy little old me, even with how painful it is, I would not wish any different, because I've found who I am. I found my people, and who knows, gene therapy is developing and so much, which is another conversation for another day, because we definitely will do an episode on gene therapy. But there's so much for the community that lies ahead. In this lifetime, I've finally been able to find my why, my reason, and my purpose, which has shaped into the work that I'm currently actively doing today. So it's definitely possible.
This is where you're going to see our personalities are different, and I'm sure you're going to see throughout this series. I choose without. Now, I will say the one thing is, I've always said that sickle cell is one of those things where if you don't have it, you don't know to fight for it, or there are many people in this community that are advocates just because they have some type of sickle cell where they either have it or they're a caregiver. I would choose not to have sickle cell, but it is very sad that, like, obviously if I didn't have sickle cell, I wouldn't be an advocate and I wouldn't be in this space. But yeah.
I think life just has a funny way of taking you along the journey. And so if you don't get anything else from our podcast, this episode really shedded a light of who we are individually, and also how we even got into this life living with sickle cell and what we do now, even with receiving that diagnosis at an early age.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride.
It has. So this is our first official episode. We saw all the comments about the first episode being a little shorter, but as you can see, we really were able to get into the meat and potatoes of this podcast episode. And so go follow us on all social medias. You can follow me at Kiera_Team Sales. That's KIERRA_Team Sales.
And you can follow me at Sickle Cell K on all platforms. Drop in the comments what you want to hear. If there's a specific episode you want us to make, leave it in the comments and we will try to cover that topic.
Thank y'all so much for watching the second episode of Catching Up
with K and Key.